Okay.
Do we get a countdown?
No, basically YouTube. We are now live.
Oh, I mean, is he gonna count? Oh.
Nope.
And
now we're live on Facebook. So that's just how it works.
Okay, and I should have done this before I did that, but
that's okay.
it's all right. I'm just
We can
gonna
just
check.
You just figure it out.
Just checking something. So
Yeah.
we're going with montage,
Okay.
which is.
That one. We'll see.
You sure it's montage? All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready. So excited.
Today, I am here to give you the assurance that I have not forgotten you.
If we want to see the new evangelization become more than just jargon, if we want to see it grow legs and gain traction and change the world, we have got to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and fathers, and especially as sons of God.
I want to propose to you then that something that our world is desperately in need of in the midst of this crisis is Catholic Christian masculinity.
If you want to be a good father, then bring your children to confession with you.
I can't get there unless I become a man of ascesis, a man of asceticism, a man of training.
A man not doing penance, a man not disciplined, is not a man.
You guys have upped your game.
You know what, guys? I gotta say, I love the concept of Man Show.
Warning: the Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
All right, so welcome to the Catholic Man Show. This is a special edition of the Catholic Man Show.
The specialist of editions.
We're going to do a couple new things tonight.
We already are.
There's things that happen in a podcast that when you start, roughly 7 years ago, you think, at some point, we will never do this.
Surely not.
And then you get to that day, and you're like, here we are.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
So that's today then.
Today is the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several things that we're doing today that will be interesting. One is the drink. But more excitingly, we're introducing a guest that has not been on the show before, but we've talked about on the show for a wiffle ball tournament that we had last year. But Mark Gabriel, our good friend Mark Gabriel from a Catholic Customs Company, he's also just like one of our friends in the Diocese of Tulsa in Eastern Oklahoma.
Yes.
And he's also a godfather of one of Dave's children, Susanna.
Correct, Susanna. And I'm the godfather of Thomas.
Yep.
So, okay. Let's just talk about this drink for a second, Mark. Because you brought this over. In charity, you brought this over to share with us so we can imbibe all the same drink together.
Yeah.
One of the things we talk about on the show is having a good drink.
Yeah, and this is the
friends.
epitome of that.
Okay.
There's just so much character to it.
This is it. You think of all the good drinks, this is the goodest.
No. This is where the plot thickens a little bit.
Okay.
So the joke started at some point in time that I was the hard Mountain Dew guy, and now people buy so many of these for me. Like for my 30th birthday, Juan bought me 30 of them as my 30th birthday gift.
Yeah.
So now he keeps buying me these, and other people keep buying me these. I think I can count on one hand the amount of times in the last 3 years that I've actually purchased these, but I just keep getting more of them, so I just keep drinking them. And then it's like you're cutting the grass, you're going to drink something.
And the next thing you know, you're actually liking them.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, and then the joke gets out. Mark's the Hard Mountain Dew guy, so
that's what we're having today.
Yeah.
But not just Hard Mountain Dew. This is the Baja Blast.
Baja Blast.
This is not just like the regular.
It's the upper shelf.
It's the top shelf.
And I'd like to mention Hard Mountain Dew as I'm contractually obligated to mention them in every prayer. We look forward to the release of Mountain Berry Blast.
Okay, so
you know what? Putting it in the glass is nice because you get to appreciate
that color.
The beautiful,
the very organic,
the beautiful natural
natural
the
coloring.
blue color. It's from the Baja.
Yeah.
The Baja's
all naturally sourced.
Is it the Blast or is it the Baja?
I don't even know what Baja Blast is like as a thing. I get it. It's a flavor, but
it has to take all of us back.
There
to
are
our
other
teenage
flavors
years.
that like call themselves strawberry or blueberry or lemon, right? Like
typical.
This one is like Baja Blast. It's sort of like, you know what flavor this is? In your face. Yeah. This is in your face flavor.
So we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. So, Mark, you also came.
You know what? It's not bad. It's really not that bad.
Bringing these over, room temp.
Yeah. So, Adam and David wanted me to have these on ice.
Cool.
You'll see they're drinking them out of glasses. My theory was that it's disrespectful to drink hard Mountain Dew chilled because that's too classy for it. You have to drink it warm, room temp, or hot. That's the only way to drink hard Mountain Dew.
Intended.
Yeah. Like I said, you're cutting the grass. You've got them outside with you. 15 minutes later, it's a black can. It's hot. Then you're going to drink it. You know, you can't chill it because then it's too classy. It's like not respecting its nature. It's like letting a dog sit on your couch, you know?
Against the Telios of
the
hard.
Jim, on the yummy scale.
Where's on the yummy?
It's just like off of the yummy scale.
It's off
See?
the yummy scale.
I broke it.
The yummy scale has been broken. You know what? There is like probably 1 million times more sugar in here.
No, this is where you go wrong.
Zero sugar.
Zero sugar.
Listen, it's not only zero sugar, it's caffeine free.
Yeah.
Is it caffeine free?
It's caffeine free.
What?
Read
So,
the
like,
can. Caffeine free, sugar free. I'll bring the box out if I need to.
All the aspartame your body can consume.
Who wants to drink Mountain Dew
Legally.
without caffeine?
Well, they replaced the caffeine with the next best accelerant, alcohol.
Yeah, but that's a depressant.
True.
It's like, you know what?
They're going a different route.
If I'm drinking Mountain Dew, I want to have some I want it to have a lot of caffeine in it, right? That's just
you want to be shaking after when you're halfway through your glass.
It's just weird to have caffeine-free Mountain Dew. It goes against.
Did you stop that?
It goes against everything that I know about
Mountain Dew.
Because I've been doing the Dew for a long time.
That's what I was gonna say. Having a Baja Blast has to take you guys back to your teenage years.
Yeah,
too.
It does. It
Like,
does.
totally.
Man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You get like a 2 liter. You have a sleepover.
You're up all night.
You play. You know. Oh, the new Call of Duty came out.
Halo or whatever it was at the time.
And you just like
You've
sit
got
there.
Voltage, Baja Blast. What was the red one?
Oh gosh.
I don't know. I have no idea.
There was.
Because I remember there's Voltage, Baja Blast, and the red one.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the red one?
I don't remember.
There was also another one that I'm trying to. Anyway, it was just like Mountain Dew, except it's,
So
off-brand kind of.
So Mark, we are doing a giveaway with you and your company, Catholic Customs Company. One of the things that we're in the midst of it currently. It ends on September 14th, but we're giving away a home altar, a custom home altar in which your company is building. And it's very easy to sign up. There's 10 different ways you can sign up. If you go to thecatholicmanshow.com, you can
you sign up 10
that.
different times?
Yes.
Yeah, Adam was very generous in his sign up methods.
So you can get more than one entry.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about how this company started and obviously it's progressed and catapulted, especially recently, into new realms that you probably did not foresee coming.
Yeah. So originally, my wife's father-in-law, he's a lifelong woodworker.
Wait, your wife's father-in-law?
No. I always say it's my father-in-law because my wife's father-in-law. Yeah, I always get that.
I was
backwards.
so your dad.
I'm corrected on that so many times.
I call my dad
my father-in-law, my wife's
all the
father.
time.
So he's been in woodworking for 40 years, traditional Catholic, and he always wanted to get out of building things that he thought were celebrations of decadence or monuments to people's own successes, like extremely expensive TV cabinets where people are paying, tens of thousands of dollars for this custom woodworking. So at one point in time, a long time ago, he built several altars and even Sacred Heart enthronements, and he took them to EWTN and gave them to EWTN.
Wow.
And he was trying to start it up back then.
When was this?
That was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what I don't know what would exactly happen. Circumstances change. He never followed through on it. And then my wife not too long ago had the idea, like, I know Dad can build these, and I know he is like an expert level woodworker. So we should see if he'll design us a home altar. So in process of her doing research on what kind of availability are there for purchasing one of these, could we just buy one and get it? And so she's doing like the research to see if we can get one, and she's on Etsy, she's Googling, and all she can find is like pagan altars or black mass altars for like Satanists.
Yeah.
So she heard at one point
No
in
kidding.
time. Yeah. So on Etsy, if you search home altar, there'll only be one home altar that's Catholic/Christian to come up. The rest of them will be for pagan rituals or black masses with like pentagrams and candles on them.
Wow.
Yikes.
I didn't realize there was like that much of a market for those.
Me neither. And that's what she found to be slightly concerning.
Yeah.
So she decided at that point in time, call Dad, let's see what he can design. And that's when kind of the design phase started coming up, because she had heard Father Ripperger at one point in time say, whatever God intends, the devil intends the inverse of it. So that's why like there's the hour of mercy at 3 p.m. and then the devil's hour, they refer to it as like 3 a.m. because he's always trying to do the inverse. So he starts designing these, and we're like, wow, that's very beautiful. You know, there's multiple ways you can design it with like Gothic style or Roman style, depending on the architecture. But so we end up deciding he has the technical knowledge on how to build these extremely high quality products. And I'm a millennial, so I can run a website and he can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Yeah.
checks out.
Right.
Yeah, so because it doesn't matter if nobody knows you're selling these beautiful things,
Right.
it's not going to go anywhere. So that's where we decided. We kind of sat down, we went over how this would work, and we put up, not a website first, we put up an Etsy page. And not within 5 days of putting up that Etsy page, I get a message from the Benedictine Sisters of Mary Queen of the Apostles in Gower, Missouri. And they're asking us if we can build them a custom altar. So I see that message and I'm like, okay, let me Google this convent, see what they're about.
Right.
And I respond to them, are you the Benedictine Sisters in Gower? And they're like, yeah, that's us. Can we get on a phone call with you to discuss what we're doing? So first customer, 5 days in. We had just started this. We didn't even
Pretty
really
awesome.
have a website up. You know, we didn't even have our 3D renderings done. It was just like a hand-drawn picture on Etsy, and they're calling us. So we get on the phone with them, and they're describing what they want. You know, they said they're going to have an altar where they're going to have relics of their foundress on it. And they give us dimensions. You know, that's fine. We design it. We give them the price for it, and they give us the go-ahead. So we're going through the design phase, colors, types of wood, you know. We chose, I think it was maple for that one. So, and then 2 days after that, I get another frantic phone call from them, and they're like, hey, sorry you haven't heard from us in the last few days. We're going to tell you something that only the bishop knows. And we have,
okay.
yeah. And I was like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, at this point in time, before she told us, she said, you can't relate this information to anybody at this
Sure,
time.
sure.
It's we're only telling you guys this because it's relevant to the shrine we're building. Then she said, can you make this into being more of a, we don't know how to describe this, but a display case? And we're thinking, yes. And she said, okay, well, we dug up the foundress, you know, they exhumed her body, and she was incorrupt. And we want this to be the shrine that has like a viewing front on it that we can place her in. Instead of being an altar, it needs to be this. So obviously in America, very few people have had any experience being involved in something like this, you know, so it was very strange. I remember going to tell Becky about this, and she's just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And also, kind of humorously, we were like, what do we even...
And Becky is your wife.
Yeah, Becky's my wife, for those that don't know. I just assume everybody...
Who has some crazy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
That is true.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. For those that are lucky enough to know her, you probably know quite a few of them. But so then we...
She'd be a great guest on the Catholic Man Show sometime.
Well, I was joking that I'd have her come for me.
Be like, Becky, tell us that one time you were in Africa. Just tell us. Just tell us this.
Tell us about the one time Mark threw a tomato at the turkey.
It was like an overhand backwards throw, you know?
Yeah.
But I was joking that I was going to have her come for me instead today. And then she'd walk in and be like, oh, hey, guys. And you'd be like, wait, this isn't what we thought we were getting. But this is probably better anyway, so we'll just roll with it. Yeah, so we didn't even know what to call this thing. We're like, this is not an altar anymore, right? So we're doing research, like, what would you call it? And
Have you ever tried the Baja Blast on ice? It's
a
way
lot
better.
No, should I?
Yes.
You should probably try it on ice.
I know, but like I said,
It's like way better. It's so cold and refreshing.
It's pretty good.
It has I'm just saying. It's worth a shot, Mark. You know,
You have to say you're impressed with it either way, whether it's room temp or whether it's on ice. It's
Thank you,
better
thank
than
you.
you thought it was going to be.
Well, you know, you've brought these to the golf course when we've played golf.
Yeah.
So I've.
That's right.
I'm not.
I-
I'm not a newbie to the Baja Blast. Thanks to our friendship, Mark.
The front nine was good that day. The back nine we got.
You know, it often goes that way.
Okay, but so you're trying to figure out like what do you actually call this thing like, and you're trying to also think we got to figure this out, but we can't tell anybody yet.
Yeah, so it's
kind of also hard, right? You're trying to figure out something new to do without, and you're probably wanting to get advice from maybe other people, but it's like I can't actually get advice from other people because I can't actually tell them about this.
Yeah, and you can't just Google what are the protocols for how to display a incorrupt saint
person.
You know, like there's
Right.
it's not like even the Vatican doesn't
There's
really
not a
have
lot of
guidelines
protocol.
for that. Yeah,
It's not like a website.
Right.
yeah, there's not a Wikipedia page for examples of what to do with this. So we're
Right.
kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit. And obviously their bishop was involved to direct them. You know, we're not going to do the altar stone because masses aren't going to be set on it. You know, we do things like that for
Okay.
churches and
Yeah.
rectories. If masses are going to be set on it, we
Yeah,
can
the altar
include
stone, right.
yeah, for if mass is going to be said. So he directed us not to.
Mhm.
And then he gave us kind of what the ecclesial
Was
process.
that a change in the beginning? Was it going to be a real altar in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was going to be a real altar that they could celebrate mass on. And the altar was designed to go against the wall because they're a fraternity convent or, you know, order. So they're going to have it against the wall.
Ad Orientem.
Yeah, ad orientem. So that was it still ended up being that way because it ended up being loosely referred to as a display case. But we're like, okay, we're Catholic. There's a lot of history and heritage with things like this. To call it a display case seems way too informal. We have to decide, like, what is this really going to be called?
Yeah.
I think we slightly humorously settled on sepulcher, honestly. So that's kind of what we went with.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And then the nuns ended up kind of pinning it to be a shrine. So it's a shrine.
Well, it can be both.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a sepulcher
Yeah.
because it's got a body in it.
Yes. Just it has a plexiglass front.
Yeah.
So like, what was it like whenever you were building it? You were there. You were putting it together. Like, in that whole explain that whole process.
Yeah. So at this point in time, nobody else knows about this. The diocese does, and I don't know if it was like a canon lawyer that was involved that was like a confidant to the bishop there in that diocese. So they're like, we need you to be here within the next few days to look at this because we're designing this. And I was like, can you give me measurements? And they said, can you just come see her? And at this point in time, so we go, okay, there's the guest house. We're staying there. They take us into the parlor, and she's essentially fresh out. This is like a day or two later. We're booking Airbnb, and we're out of here. Like, we're going to see what's going on here. And they're still, like, scraping mold very gently off of her habit, which was fully intact also, but mold.
Yeah,
built
that
up.
was another miraculous thing, is that not only her, but her habit was also...
Yeah, and all like the felt on the inside of the coffin was totally gone. But
Right.
her habit was still, even though it was 100% cotton, it was in better shape than the habits that the sisters that were
When
alive
did
are
she
actually
die?
wearing. I think it was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Roughly, I mean, approximately. So they take us in to see her as they're still cleaning her. She's still in the coffin with the top off. And there's young sisters and they're like they're very gently wiping, you know, any mold or growth that would be on her because there's like a layer of dust and mold that grew on her. So we're in there, we're kind of like walking around her, like measuring, like it's very strange. We're like measuring her, you know, she's very short, turns out, but not sure how that's relevant, but she was short. So they bring us in, they're like, oh no, like, look, here's her toes. And they're like touching her toes and they're like, oh, here, touch her skin, touch your rosaries to it. You know, we like took our wedding bands and like touched them to her skin, you know?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And this is before, like now she's got wax on her to make sure she doesn't decay further. But this was literally, they were still cleaning her off. And we were like, this is, even Becky, who has all the stories, was like, this must be the most bizarre thing that's ever happened. Like, because there's only a handful of incorrupt people, you know, and she's not a saint, so I'm not going to say saint, but who gets that phone call? Like,
Right.
nobody has that experience, and we just started this thing, and this is literally the first customer we have.
So when you guys build something like this, do you like get the measurements and then build as much as you can at the shop, but do you have to put it together, like mostly assemble it on location, or do you assemble it and then ship it that way?
Something like this, we made the general structure of, but we did the assembly in person on site
Right.
before they put her in it.
Okay, that
because
seems
there's
easier to
glass
me.
involved. We had it where there's like my father-in-law actually built it really cool where there's like a removable front, so if she's like not on display, they can put it back up, and it's got like a Christogram on the front.
So it's not always have a plexiglass look.
It depends on if they want to
right,
or not.
You can he made it so you could close it off to where it looks like just a case.
Yeah, it would just look
wooden
like a
case.
normal like side altar at any church you've been
Right,
to. If
yeah.
she's like not on display, or they're cleaning her, I don't know, maybe they're changing her habit, whatever it might be. So we engineered it to have that specification as well. So because it had the glass involved and because it had those moving parts, we ended up going for the what did they call that? When they put her in the shrine, that was late May maybe.
Yeah, in case.
Yeah, when they encased her,
Yeah.
and we had to be involved with this too because the bishop had to put an ecclesial seal on it to make sure that nobody was going to tamper with it, because when a bishop gets a phone call like that, a serious investigation is about to take place.
Right.
So we had to place it, and then he was following us to place the ecclesial seal on it.
What is the ecclesial seal?
It's like a special kind of tape. I think it involves wax.
There is ecclesial tape. Is that what
It's
you're
an
telling me?
ecclesial seal is the technical term for it. I haven't seen it in person. I think only the bishop knows or gets to see it and apply it. So he puts the seal on the altar in multiple locations if it's something that can be taken apart, so that as part of the investigation, it can prove from this point on, nothing has been tampered with, because the seal would be broken, and then they'd know like something strange is going on with the investigation.
All right.
Yeah.
So once you did that, what kind of like feedback did you get? Like what were people asking you questions about it? Obviously, like
yeah.
What was that like?
Well, people kept walking up to us. We backed the truck up and we were starting to build, and they're like, "Is that made out of plastic?" Because it looks so smooth. Like the quality of his woodworking is so fine and so smooth that they didn't believe it was wood. And we were like, "No, this is maple wood," which the sisters were happy about, because where sister was buried, she was surrounded by sugar maple trees, and we ended up coincidentally making the altar out of sugar maple, also, which is a good hardwood, and it sanded out really well. So. Yeah, the reception was really well. The altar is absolutely gorgeous. For anybody that's had a chance to go see it, you'll know, because it's the one she's sitting in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can go look up the pictures of Sister Wilhelmina.
Yeah, they're write-ups
And
in
you get to
National
see the
Catholic
altar that we're
Register
talking
about the altar that she's in and everything like that. So you can go there. I think she's permanently on display. If she's not, I haven't heard it. Anybody can go anytime and just walk into the sanctuary and visit or pray before. I don't think she's going to be out on display for physical touch like she was before she was encased, now that the seal has been set. But so we were there for all that. We were part of the ceremony where they were putting her in. They did a procession with her where they prayed a rosary and walked from her grave and carried her from her grave with a lot of roses, put her in, and then we had to be there once the sisters put her in and did the ceremony to like close it all up and reassemble it and everything like that. So we ended up meeting with them. We measured her out. They gave us, we kind of shared ideas with them. We based the build off of the architecture of their structure. It was a Roman style of architecture because it's based off of Mary's house at Ephesus, which had Roman architecture to it, is what their convent is based off of. And we even matched the color to like their altar rail and stuff like that there. So it's a perfect architectural match with color and build to match the convent and the sanctuary that they say their mass is in.
Nice.
That's really cool.
So, what's like the vision for the Catholic Custom Company? You guys you do other things.
Customs Company.
Thank you.
Catholic Customs Company.
With an S.
Yes, I see that on your shirt, and it is Customs Company.
Because we do more than one thing,
Gotcha.
accidentally.
All right. Well, that was my question. What are the other things?
Well, when we told all you guys, I remember on our Bible study, we let you guys know like what's going on. Once they told us, we could start spreading the word, because they said for an investigation to take place, what they refer to as a popular cultus had to be formed, which was like a following or devotion to her. As part of the investigation, they would need to track that because if there are miracles they could attribute to her. So once we started being able to tell you guys, we were like, yeah, so we accidentally started another company and this is what we're doing. But now it's kind of gone where we originally the idea was going to be just home altars for the home. Like I said, we wanted to be able to edify a traditional prayer life for the Catholic people that we know, because we have always wanted one of these also, and we've never been able to get one. You know, it's, you know, just walk into Walmart or Google and find a Catholic home altar. That's, you know, and we all make do with what we have. You know, we always had ours at home with like an end table, and it was perfectly functional. But for the people that want to take it to the next level, now there's this available. So that was the original intent behind it. Now we're finding actually a lot of churches and rectories are reaching out to us. One of our last two builds actually both went to Maryland. We sent a couple of rectory altars and an altar of repose to a very historic church in Maryland. I'm trying to remember. St. Mary's of Piscataway. It was the Piscataway Indian tribe was converted by a Jesuit priest, I believe, and they founded a parish. So it's, I think that church is even older than the United States itself. So they also had not only a rectory altar, but an altar of repose.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The altar of repose is for like on Holy Thursday when you take the Eucharist out of the tabernacle, you have to have a separate place to put it. So we built both of those, and also for a very nice gentleman named Carlos, about an hour away from there, he bought one from us. So we're kind of toting the line between doing them for churches and doing them for people.
Why not both?
Yeah, and we're rolling out kneelers. We might be building
some pray-dos.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're doing ambos or lectionary, or what do you call them?
Yeah, ambos.
Yeah, ambos. We're doing those. And we may actually also be building like old style confessionals, like you see in the old movies, where there's the box in the back and there's the two compartments on each side.
Slide on each side.
Yeah, he'll slide this one open, then he'll slide that one open.
That would take a long time to build. That's like, that's a lot of wood.
Yeah.
Decorative too.
Yeah, it's very decorative.
That would be awesome.
Mark, Mike, I have a question on like this thought of home altars, because some people maybe not really understanding like what is a home altar. They've never heard of this idea. So like, I guess what do you see as the benefit of a home altar, and like why should somebody have one?
Our intent, at least in building our own home altar, was having some place that our house could be centralized in what was most important to us. So we made a very conscious decision at some point to not have a TV in our living room. And over time it transitioned to, if we're not going to have a distraction in our living room, should we not consider having something that is going to be of the utmost value as the thing that our house is centered around? So in the place of a TV in our home, we have where our home altar is set up, because having the example for our children, at least this was what our intent was,
right.
You know, before we ever got into this, was that we wanted our children to see this witness and this practice, to see that we are doing this very intentionally. We're not going through the motions, and we mean everything that we're doing. Because, you know, kids, and then when they get to teenagers, they can tell when you're bluffing, and they can tell if you don't really believe what you're doing.
They say, Dad, I've never seen you pray.
Yeah.
Why should I pray?
Yeah. So every night when we pray our family rosary, it's going to be in front of our home altar, which is in this most central part of our house. And we wanted to give that example to them, and that was our intent way before we ever got into building them. And then now we realized, once we tried to buy one formally to get like a formal home altar, the fact that there's demonic influence to drive demonic followers to do this same practice, and we're like, well, if they're doing this, we need to be combating against this also. And so that was our plan with it.
So if somebody is interested in this idea, but they might, like, I can hear somebody saying, I just don't have space for a home altar. How much space does it actually take?
The ones we have available, if you have a 2-foot area, 2 feet is all it takes.
2 feet wide.
2 feet wide is all it takes, and you can get one of these. We're also going to end up rolling out thinner profile wall mount ones, in case somebody has got like a small apartment or their house is too small to be able to support even that. They can mount maybe a 6-inch wide one on their wall with the same architecture styles that our other altars would be. We're going to do that. We're going to do mantles. We're going to do corner ones, you know, stuff like that. We haven't rolled that out.
Corner one would be, that would be cool.
Yeah, where it's like a triangle shape and you can fit it in a 90-degree corner. So we're going to end up doing stuff like that. If anybody wants one, they can reach out to us. We do custom work also.
You do?
Yeah.
The Catholic Customs Company.
We'll give it away.
They do. You guys do custom. I see.
Yeah.
Well, and what I love about it, Mark, is that it like really beautifies the home, right? It's not just something that you it's not just like a piece of plywood that's on a table. It's not just an end table, so to speak, but it really makes the home beautiful. And it's because the craftsmanship of your work is intentional. And so when you buy something like this is something in my mind, at least, that I would want to have, in my home for 30 years or whatever. And then like when my kids start having kids, to pass it on to them, and it's worth it's that kind of value.
Yeah, kind of like an heirloom status item, which like a lot of people do for their children. What are those chests? Hope chests for their daughters and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We envision this being something that could be passed down through generations also, because we only make it out of hardwoods so that it's going to last. Mm-hmm. It's all built up to the utmost degree of quality. And we also let people know that we pray over them as we make them, not, like we're doing exorcisms or something, but that we pray as we make it, so that they know you're not buying just some IKEA quick build thing made in a factory by somebody in Thailand. This is a fellow Catholic company, and we're prayerfully constructing these with the intent of edifying the prayer life in your family the way that we've experienced that it's been edified in ours.
Yeah. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, because like what you were saying about putting the right things, I think having a home altar, it has a way of ordering the whole house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this.
Yeah,
on
we've
the show
talked about it many times.
Yeah, you guys have a wealth of information on it. I've even gone back and revisited your old content in regards to home altars.
Yeah, if you go to thecatholicmanshow.com and just search home altars, there's several things that pull up.
But really, it does that. You can add this to your house. If you don't have a home altar, you really should do it. You should just add one, because it does have this ordering principle, where just now you have a place of prominence. It should be in a place of prominence, that just says, puts the main thing as the main thing. If I could put it very simply.
And so for ours, we have our altar set up over it on the top of the wall, centrally located. We have a crucifix that my parents gave me as a wedding gift that's been blessed, and then on each side of it we have the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary framed on the wall. And then we went to the local Catholic store in town and bought votive candles that match kind of what you would see on like a side altar at a church, and we have like an altar linen with the 2 candles on the side that we have as part of the decoration for it. So that way when we're praying, we have the altar that locates where our values should lie, but we also have the things up on the wall to kind of insinuate the elevation towards the higher good.
Lady Pamela for ours has even made different altar cloth colors.
We'll have to talk to her about that, because we want to sell those too.
For each of the liturgical seasons.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And it actually helps even me in my own prayer life. You go and you kneel and it's like, oh yeah, it's purple now, or it's green, or
yeah, you're not just seeing it on Sunday, you're seeing it at home too.
It's nice for the kids. They get excited about let's change, take all the stuff off the altar and put the new altar cloth. It's fun for them to do, but it's good for me too.
Yeah. We also make these so that if you do have supplies like that, the arches on the front can be made as doors, so that there will be shelving inside if you have religious things like that you want to store, like extra candles or altar cloths or different decorations depending on the time of the year. You can just pop the doors open, and inside of your altar you can store all these things.
What about like a kneeler pad that pulls out?
That we've tossed that idea around.
Have you?
We do telescoping ones that are adjustable for height if you have it for kids.
Nice.
Yeah, that's another thing. We were thinking about doing one like you said, where you open it up and it slides out so that it doesn't take up space.
So all of these things, they're not all on your website. So what should somebody do? Should they just call you or send you an email, say hey, here's this, let's dream big?
Yeah. I mean, even the Bishop of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia reached out to us to have us build a high altar for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Wow. And obviously you don't post high altar for old cathedral for sale on your website.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do all kinds of custom work like that. If there's something that somebody has an idea with, we can work with you. And we we absolutely try to keep our prices reasonable, because I have some priest friends that tried to get altars quoted for them to be built, just simple wood build altars for their rectories. And I scoffed at the price. I was like, I don't know how it costs that much. I don't know how to me, it didn't seem like it should be done for that much. So we try to keep everything extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
Everything we ship for free, which is a huge issue for people because they have to.
You ship for free?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Probably.
You're going to ship a high altar for free?
Well, I didn't want to have it to be where I didn't want to have it where somebody adds this altar to their cart and they're very excited that they have this thing that they can get for their family, and they add it and it says plus $800 or plus $1,200.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well that altar is not $2,000 now, it's $3,500, and that doesn't make sense now. So we do everything that we can, and we're going to keep it that way where it's free shipping. So even on the custom builds, depending on what it is, we can more or less accommodate that shipping cost being built into it as well, so that you don't add something to your cart, or I send you an invoice and you're getting hit for another $800.
I just think also, especially I could really envision grandparents this would be a fantastic gift. This would be a really nice gift, right?
You mean like an anniversary gift or something?
Like you get this as a gift, or a wedding present.
Yeah.
Something that is really, it's going to last forever and make a huge difference.
Yeah, we can do all kinds of
think about this. Grandparents, you got this sweet altar, like prayer, oratory thing, for your grandkids. Like, well, now they kind of have to pray in front of it. All right?
It's sitting in your living room. You have to walk by it every day on your way to
grandparent
practice.
hack.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to, well, now you kind of have to pray. You know?
At least they'll look at it and it's going to bring the proper thoughts to mind, even if they're just living around it. So to go back to what you're saying, though, if somebody wants to get a hold of us, I have my personal phone number. If somebody needs to call or text me to ask questions or inquire about something they have an idea with, they can call or text me on that on our website, email, Facebook message, off of the website. We can do anything. Just give me your phone number. We'll see what we can do to make it happen.
Awesome.
Now, we cannot end this evening without talking about the wiffle ball game tomorrow. We have so for those who may not know, here in the Diocese of Tulsa in Eastern Oklahoma, there is a wiffle ball game that happens every Labor Day. It's not sponsored by the diocese, but it is
it's kind of where each church has. There is a church that has multiple
teams. You did put the
teams.
wiffle ball game on the cover of the Eastern Oklahoma Catholic magazine last year.
And listen,
but it was awesome.
Hey, it's my magazine.
It's not my magazine. It's the diocese.
Okay, I
edit. I'm the editor.
Control over the magazine,
and it was awesome.
It was.
And I'm a self-professed wiffle ball aficionado. For those that need to know. So
you've thrown 10,000 pitches in the last.
I've been practicing for 4 months. I pitched 300 wiffle balls at a time in preparation. Thanks to Becky for making the time. She's very competitive, I've come to find out. Because
like you didn't know that. Everybody knows Becky's competitive.
Yeah.
So we're playing tomorrow, which will be awesome. What are your what's your raw take on this idea of Catholics just coming together to play this family fun
to crush
event
each other on the wiffle ball field?
Honestly, it's always kind of bothered me because the Protestants have softball, but they never invite the Catholic churches to play. Even Protestants of different denominations all have their softball league, and they never ask the Catholics to play. So we're just like, forget it.
We're good at it.
Yeah, we just have so much talent that they don't want to play us.
And you know why? Because we show up with beer and they're all jealous.
Yeah.
We could drink.
Well,
pastors on our team.
We all have chewing tobacco and beer to play softball.
When 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, there's a 5th.
That's right.
True.
So so that's happening tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun. But okay, so CatholicCustomsCompany.com.
Yeah, with an S, Catholic Customs Company, all one word. You can follow us on Facebook, which if you're a part of the giveaway, you're probably already doing that. That's one of the entries. But our website, Catholic Customs Company. And even though we only have certain items for sale, like high altars or oratory altars or things like that, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like one of the builds we did, they wanted the arches to not be wood arches on the front body of the altar. They wanted them to be granite. So the altar is wood, and then the arches have a granite that they wanted to have match a tabernacle of their church. So we found a matching granite, and we built this where the arches were made out of granite. There's all kinds of stuff like that we can do.
I could pick it up.
Yeah, it has a slab of granite behind the front face.
Yeah.
But we can do all kinds of stuff. Just reach out. We'll see what we can do.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thanks so much for hanging out with us this evening, but also partnering with us on this giveaway, because it's been a lot of fun to promote your company, but also to hopefully here pretty soon we're gonna announce the winner and be able to give away this home altar.
I am excited to give
to
this away.
announce it away.
Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna let them choose. We'll probably choose the wood type just once they send us a picture of where they want to put it to try to tell what we think is gonna work. But we're going to let them choose the color. We're going to send them a template of stains, a template of paints. They can choose the color, whatever they want to have. They'll be able to choose the architectural design of it. It's going to be really cool. We're really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Me
Awesome.
Me too.
All right. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers.
Salute.